Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with an update video. We'll talk about some of the feedback from yesterday's video. Again, coming to you here from my favorite location in the world at the moment. It is another perfectly overcast day here in this part of the world, and we have the relaxing sounds and sights of the Atlantic Ocean behind me. And as you can see, there's a bit of swell today. You'll probably see a few big waves breaking on those rocks down there behind me. And of course, this place here is a surfer's paradise. In fact, over there is one of the best surfing beaches in the whole of Portugal, a place called Supertubos. There was a professional tournament there held for many years. In fact, it probably still is. But of course, this year has been suspended because of the virus pandemic. Now, at the beginning of the year, I made a video called The Pros and Cons of Moving to Spain. I think it's the second or third video that I have made on that topic. I try to update them as often as possible, and I made that video, I think, on the 1st of February, or at least I published it on that day. And of course, over the last couple of months, that video, for some reason, has taken off. The views have been huge on that video. Lots of people watching it, lots of feedback. Huge wave just crashed in the background there, as we saw. And of course, that video was done pre-COVID-19. So I'm thinking, do I need to update that video? Are there going to be more cons about moving to Spain nowadays? Are there going to be more pros about it? And I'm curious as to why so many people have been watching that video in recent times. Is there now, because of what's happened around the world, a lot more interest in coming to a place like Spain? Are people thinking about moving from the States or from the UK down to Spain now? Is that one of the reasons why the video has taken off? And that's what I want to talk about with you guys, people that are living in Spain or people that are thinking of coming to Spain. What are those pros and what are those cons at the moment? As I get all of that information together and put out another possible video, of course, a post-COVID-19 pros and cons of moving to Spain in 2020. Is Spain still an attractive country to move to after all that's happened in the last few months? Or is that something that would potentially put people off moving to Spain now? That's what I want to know. So leave those comments in the section below. Now, a lot of feedback yesterday also about the WHO's comments that there's been a lot of misinformation coming out of Spain, mismanagement of the situation, and that's one of the reasons why different countries around Europe have imposed those travel restrictions on Spain, or people that are visiting Spain when they go back to those countries, of course, have to go into quarantine or other restrictions. And basically what happened is that the WHO came out and said that the information's just not clear. The way the data is being reported, the way the data is being compiled by the 17 autonomous communities and then given to the central government, it's a bit of a shambles apparently, and Spain needs to do better. Somebody said in the comments section that it seems a bit strange considering that the WHO was praising Spain 2 or 3 weeks ago, saying that they handled the pandemic fantastically, and now an about face in criticizing the country for the way they're handling the situation. But as I said in yesterday's video, this is one of the problems with Spain, in my opinion, that autonomous community system and the way that each individual autonomous community handles things differently. We can see now that with all of these new rules and regulations that are being put out on banning smoking, on banning the amount of people that can get together, we can see that each autonomous community is rolling them out at different times. What happens in the Basque Country is not the same as what happens in Cantabria. What happens in Galicia is not the same as what happens in Asturias, and that is one of the problems. A lot of the times there's no coordinated approach to what's going on. Some places crack down on nightlife relatively early, and some places haven't even done it yet. So for example, Madrid is only going to bring in restrictions on nightlife today, and it could be a bit late considering the increase in cases in that particular autonomous community and of course Spain's biggest city. And the central government seems to have disappeared. Of course, they put all of the handling of the health situation into the hands of the autonomous communities, and of course they seem to have abandoned the ship. Pedro Sánchez has been on holidays, the health minister went on holidays. Fair enough, I'm not saying anybody shouldn't take holidays. Of course, people are entitled to take holidays, but maybe when you have had a health situation of this magnitude, you should give the impression that you are in control of the ship and not have 17 different captains taking different orders. And of course, that is one of the problems that we have in Spain with this system. Don't get me wrong, I am in favor of the autonomous community system. I don't think that Spain should be managed from a central government point of view. I think power should belong in the regions, but I just think they need to work together better. Is it possible? I don't know. It should be. They all speak the same language, but the problem is they come from different political backgrounds, and that can be a problem, of course. I remember many years ago that Spain had a drought problem, and one of the suggestions was to bring water from the north of the country down to the south of the country. So for example, places like Murcia that don't have a lot of water, they wanted to bring water down from the north where it rains a lot more, and that was something that was put in the too hard basket because they couldn't come to an agreement in the different autonomous communities to get that done. And nobody wants to give up their water. So Spain, quite complicated from a political point of view. But those autonomous communities need to work together better, in my opinion. Now, a lot of talk, a lot of debate in Spain at the moment about schools. Are they going to go back? How are the kids going to go back to school? Have there been safety measures implemented that are going to satisfy teachers, parents, administrators? Are they in place? The answer is I don't know. Everything seems a bit chaotic at the moment. Madrid has announced that there's going to be a teachers' strike. Teachers have decided to call a strike for the first few days of the school year because they don't feel safe going back into that environment. They say that they have been let down by the government, and there doesn't really seem to be a clear, coherent plan in place. And of course, education is one of those things that is controlled by each autonomous community. There is a central government Ministry of Education which is supposed to oversee education in Spain, but the individual implementation in each autonomous community is in the hands of those autonomous communities. So Madrid is in control of education, Galicia is in control of education, Castilla-La Mancha, Castilla-León, Catalonia, etc. And there's still a lot of debate as to whether students need to wear masks, whether there's going to be reduced class numbers, and it is something that I, as a parent, am worried about. I'm worried about sending my child back to school at the moment because of the health situation and also because of the lack of a clear, coherent policy from the authorities. Are classrooms going to be a safe environment? Who knows? Are children going to have to go to school on different days, maybe on Monday, Wednesday and Friday one week, Tuesday and Thursday the next week, in order to avoid crowded classrooms? Those are the questions that people are asking. Are the teachers right to go on strike, or are they just contributing even more to the problem? That's another question that is on the table. Now it's starting to sprinkle, so I better hurry up. It's been raining all morning, and I think the rain's coming back now. And another thing that caught my attention was about that famous minimum income that the Spanish government was offering people. Apparently the unions have come out today and said that that is also a shambles. They called the situation chaotic. They said that some 700,000 families have asked for help, but only 34,000 cases have been resolved, and only in 4,000 of those 34,000 cases has the money actually been approved and given to the people in need. So what's the hold up there? Who knows? Is there enough money in the system? That's one of the questions that people are going to be asking. Of course, the Spanish state at the moment going more and more and more into debt on a daily basis. And unfortunately, the more jobs that are destroyed, the worse it's going to get. But huge problems at the moment, apparently, to get that money into the people that need it the most. And to be honest, I don't see why things are so complicated. Spain is a country that has more than enough civil servants to handle these requests. You'd think they would be able to get it done in a quick and efficient way, but it doesn't seem to be the case. And finally, a quick chat about some of the inconsistencies in Spain at the moment. Somebody sent me a video link about a bullfight that was held in Cádiz recently, a bullfight going ahead in front of a crowd, which I didn't think was possible at the moment. I thought there weren't any crowds allowed to gather in Spain. Of course, there have been limits on how many people can get together with friends and family, yet I see a bullfight where there were thousands of people in attendance. Okay, the majority were wearing masks, but there was no social distancing going on. Now, I can't work this out. How is it possible that you have the Champions League football being played in empty stadiums, yet in Cádiz you have a bullfight where thousands of people attend? It doesn't make sense. And this is not going to be an anti-bullfighting rant. It could be, but it's not. But I just can't see how you can allow those things to take place with all of the restrictions that are going on at the moment. It's ludicrous, and I don't know how the Andalusian government can allow this type of thing to happen. But anyway, as they say, Spain is different. But I better not say too much on the topic, or I'll get some of my irate Spanish haters leaving comments in the comment section. Anyway, on that note, I'll start to wrap the video up. Questions or comments, leave them in the section below. Debate the situation out as you always do. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.